What they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. Larry, how do you know what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School? How do you know? It's because it's written in 3 books that cost less than $5 a piece. What they don't teach you at Harvard Business School, what they still don't teach you at Harvard Business School, what they will never teach you at Harvard Business School. Larry, I watched one of your videos. It all made sense to me. What made sense? Oh, that reading books is helpful. So, if reading books is helpful and you've just come to that conclusion, next step, massive success. Why? Because those 3 books took one octogenarian, one lifetime to deliver. You get those before Thanksgiving weekend ends. You get those because you're compressing and then decompressing. You see, when a book gets written, it's a summary synopsis synthesis of someone's experience and knowledge. In writing, people coach you to write what you know. And since the knowledge of business was what Mark McCormick knew and understood, that's what he knew. And that's what resonated because he was writing about stuff that he knew. Write what you know. That knowledge took years and years to succinctly put it down onto paper. That's compression, that's synthesis. That's why we're taught, hey, if you want to be mentally healthy, write it out. Hey, if you want to be mentally clear, write it out. Hey, if you want to have these video sessions be useful, journal what it is that you learned here on YouTube, here on Hawk Girl Entrepreneurship Club, here on here on X, which sounds like sex, which sounds like 3 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. That wet spot on my shorts, that was because I dribbled a little bit of green tea on the inside of my thigh. It's a little wet. I'm not going to dab it. It's not going to stain. It just feels like a wet spot on the inside part of my leg. People are chiming in to say hi, including Mawson7637. Did the algorithm assign you a username? And did you just click, yes, I'd like to be Amir Mala V1X? Hi. Or are we going to immerse ourselves with what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School? Larry, how do you learn about what they do teach you at Stanford Business School or Stanford Engineering? You see, there's this website. You've probably will come across it in the future. 2 dudes started it, Chad Hurley and Steve Chen and Amir. I think he's going to quit though. What this website does is some innovative things where we do videos. We can use our smartphones to upload these videos, and the website is the tube of you. Wait, you tube of you or YouTube? It's one of those two. Tube of you, tube you, or YouTube. I don't know which I don't know which website name we're going to end up sticking with, But on this repository, this warehouse of videos, Stanford Engineering posts every video. Now, if you're saying, oh, I only got into the University of Illinois because I'm an Olympic athlete, I can't study Stanford videos that are written at the 7th grade level. Seriously? At the 7th grade level. 7th grade, like before the 8th grade and after the 6th grade. These videos are simpleton. But what is not simple is the fact that they're assembled in a way, 1 through 20, that starts off moderate and then picks up steam. 3 laws of thermodynamics, pun intended. This message is held for review. In short, chapter 9, where we don't have to take the GMAT, we don't have to take the LSAT. We can just go right to a genius question, which is, Larry, if you were to continue to guest lecture at Harvard Law School, what would your next 3 lectures be about? Larry, if you were to attend Stanford Business School, what would you want to learn about? What 3 courses? Or are you going to Steve Chen, Chad Hurley, and saying, I don't have any goals here at Stanford Business School. I don't have any goals here on Tube of You, YouTube, YouTube Tube You, YouTube Tube You, YouTube Tube You. Is that a new website? It's a website within a website, similar to a Stanford incubator inside a Stanford university. Yes, I am promoting something that you've never heard of, name dropping an institution that you don't know about, which is something you'll have to Google, which is an incubator. YouTube TubeU is a website within a website, playlist within your history. So it's a playlist within a playlist, because I'm not going to ask you to take notes, because you've been taking notes. I am going to ask you this question. YouTube TubeU, playlist of videos within a YouTube history. Have you ever expanded on a prior video? When I said chapter 9, I meant entrepreneurship. And within entrepreneurship, I mean going from $0 to $145. Where it's ENGR 145, eager newbies gaining revenue. Eager newbies gaining revenue. Double entendre, hashtag ENGR 145. So I'm happy that these videos make sense to you. I'm happy for that. I'm happy for you. Truly. My angst and my innuendo come from this. Hashtags. Do you still not believe in them? Do you not see the linking? Do you not see the map? So let me walk again for a umpteenth time. Hashtags, which is a set of notes. Here's a problem is we feel disconnected from people as we feel disconnected from components of the economy, as we temporarily feel disconnected to swaths of content where you might think that four different YouTube influencers are pushing you in nine different directions. Or you might think, I'm pulling you in two directions. This is unidirectional. This is a vector. This is a direction with momentum. This is you leaving zero video, you're leaving zero ship executables, you're leaving $0, you're leaving zero across the board. You're a business virgin. Let's use hashtags to catalyze. You see, up until now, you've completely disregarded how the internet works. And it's maybe a conspiracy where the internet is used as porn to distract you, perhaps. Where instead of the internet breaking your brain, having the internet improve, which is disregarding hashtags. Where what are the original purpose of a hashtag? To connect conversations as you make connections to I sense that someone has a problem. We confirm, hey, this is a problem. Then we solve said problem, mapping it out using hashtags. Where prior to this, you've disregarded hashtags, you've juxtaposed incorrectly using a hashtag as if it's an exclamation point. It's not an exclamation point at the beginning of what you're saying. It's not the intended purpose. That's what the default usage is, which is to turn a hashtag into a exclamation point before you begin to talk. For example, hashtag epiphany, hashtag smartass, where it's not hashtag epiphany, it's hashtag Steve, hashtag ENGR145, one of the textbooks. And do you see how when you just do hashtag dumbass or hashtag sarcasm, you lose people, even though you, for a moment, get a twitch of attention. Justin Kahn, pun intended, you get a twitch of a smidgen of a channel within a channel. So, what you're doing with a hashtag is you're going to ask yourself the seemingly impossible question: can I make $300 before Thanksgiving weekend ends using one hashtag? Let's no longer misuse a hashtag. This is in essence incredibly valuable because you can actually sell this as an ebook. What they don't teach you at Harvard Business School about hashtag utilization, mapping towards my first 300K. Do you like how quickly we went from $300 to 300K? That's the benefit of a hashtag. Origin story. Hashtag WTDYAHBS. That's the hashtag for what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. This is where you've never used a hashtag before where you've not wired your brain to listen, where you've not wired your brain to benefit from a video. The state of hashtags is disconnected. Oh my God, this script's amazing. You see, origin story, which is connected conversations, state of hashtags is us disconnected to each other because we're not taking notes within a curated symbiotic goal. What is the hashtag that you're putting down only on Twitter? This is not a universal all over the internet. This is Twitter specific. Why? Because one, you don't have a Twitter account X. You don't have a Twitter X account. Two, X Twitter, the app itself, also does not value hashtags. Why? Because Elon Musk and Nikita Bear and the technical team, they view hashtags as a remnant dinosaur. It's a dinosaur that people don't use. It's still grandfathered in. Let's take the grandfather octogenarian concept of what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School and DJ it into WTDSAY-HBS. Why? Because the intended purpose is to curate threads. Monetary loading, monetary exploding. Before, we talked about loading and exploding, where if you want to jump higher, most people don't load enough to push up off the ground. They don't have a set of curated exercises to try to get to a vertical of 44 inches, 45 inches. They think that a vertical of 12 inches is genetic. So the intended purpose here is to load and explode. The intended purpose is getting us to realize in our careers, we're trying to do the last 10%. There's a prototypical business example called the last mile problem, where it's a problem of the final steps to delivery. The last mile issue is actually the last 10% issue. That's hashtag LC9090I. So when we combine loading and exploding with the focus to do the last 10%, why? Because 90% already exists. Why? Because 90% because 90% already exists. 90% other people have also already accomplished. We just need to accomplish the last chunk. So we can look at hashtag for your question, which used to be non sequitur, which is hashtag CS183 BBC, where we could wonder, hey, is Web 5 dying? Hey, Larry, is Bitcoin dying? Hey, Larry, I don't own very much Bitcoin, but I'm trying to hijack the content because the content that we're talking about is what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. This is not the video, which will be, which is how do I go to Harvard Business School after going to the University of Illinois, studying mechanical engineering, and realizing, hey, this microeconomic, macroeconomic malady is a giant shit show. Therefore, I need to get the rules of money away from the hand of other rulers. Therefore, Web 5. Therefore, Bitcoin. Therefore, a 9-page PDF that was written October 31, 2008. Or we view hashtags in solution to your question, which is a two-sided marketplace. What comes first, a chicken or the egg? Because within Bitcoin, it's a three-sided marketplace. We don't know about method of exchange and unit of account. We do know about store of value. This is where people mess it up all the time, where they say, oh, is Bitcoin dying because unit of account and method of exchange? Or we could say, hey, Larry, how does your brain work so well? I was trying to distract you with, sir, in my opinion, Bitcoin's dying. Do you agree? Should I continue investing? You're not saying, should I continue investing? You're saying, should I stop being a virgin? Because let's be honest, you own zero Bitcoin. It's creepy how well I sniffed that out, isn't it? Creepy. Because two-sided marketplace is within hashtags, because what the problem of chicken or egg, which comes first, is your lie. Your lie came first. This is what most people do to try to get over chicken or egg, is that they lie. Right? Exactly. Good job, Larry Chang. And so when you lie about it and then leave when you get called out, that's how you address two-sided marketplace. Where I'm not saying you should continue to invest in Bitcoin. I'm saying you should be mining fiat via what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School to then save your money in store of value in Bitcoin. So your non sequitur question now became sequentially in sequence because you're solving a two-sided marketplace. You're solving a personal chicken and egg problem while you experience the fact that there are so many things that are a two-sided marketplace. Let's not get lost in this content. Let's map it. Let's reenact ways. Let's realize that if you don't have a correct map, you're going to not plot forward within your ability to stack more money. You see, when you're using hashtags, there's no defense, because in real life, there is no defense. In sports, in being a student athlete while studying engineering, there's a defender who's trying to keep you from your goals. You might even view your professor as keeping you from your goals. You might view a administrator or a dean as keeping you from your goals. But when it comes to money, there's competition, yes, but there's nobody keeping you actively defending against your drawing out a map. This is why people say you're your own worst enemy. And it comes from 11 chefs in the kitchen of your brain, which is a video I did, which comes from not using hashtags and also not having an optimally performing brain, which you can see you can see it. You can see it. This is making your brain slightly more healthy as we make the discipline of our brain slightly more healthy, as we map, which helps us be at ease and not be stressed. Why? You see, because when we map it and put it to paper, something connects in our brain that does not connect when we simply take a screenshot or use our phone to take notes, or my personal favorite, oh, I'll just remember it. I have a really good memory. I have a really good memory. I don't need to take notes, Larry. Oh, you'll have to let me know how that works out for you. Green tea is delicious. Sunrise videos, no excuses not to use a hashtag. What we're ironing out, what we're mapping out, is hashtags as a secret G spot of success, where people argue that there is no Grafenberg spot. People argue that there's no Trojan horse, there's no Achilles heel. Let's set aside all those metaphors and go right to a straightforward line of thinking, which is mapping us just as clearly as two girls, one cup of knowledge, which is a hashtag for this video would be WTDYAHBS, because that's two girls, one cup of knowledge about Harvard Business School. That is infinitely sexy. There are no excuses not to do AI, AGI, which is American intelligence, American guy intelligence. Because we could try to do two girls, one Larry Chang, and throw money at that problem, or use money to do lead generation via cold opens. But what would work better? Close. But what would work better is two girls, one book. The hashtag for that is book roulette. Okay, you're very astute. This is how to cash the check, which you're short on. This is how to make the money, which is where this video is going to be the most memorable thing, in addition to the hook of two girls, one cup. See, what we're doing here is we're doing hashtag CH9, how to be slightly entrepreneurial as a founder virgin, as a business virgin who's never closed a deal, as a person who's intrigued by the concept of two girls, one cup of knowledge. Today is day 26. Hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK. That's a hashtag. You're welcome. So put that in the chat and then start up a Twitter account. Goal for your X Twitter account: you want to get to 300 units of money. Your brain doesn't know the difference between $300 or $300,000, or, if I'm going to be a big douchebag, $300 million. Your brain just recognizes, OMG, I manufactured money from out of my brain. I almost said I almost shat out money out of my butthole, but that would be accurate, but too complex. You see, step one in good job. Step one is hashtag CH9. Hashtag CH9. Because here's another $300. In fact, it's 800, but let's set the bar lower than low. There you go. Is now you have all 14 chapters of the video. So, what's this video title? Because I'm decompressing money as I'm making you actually do something. This is why this video has infinite value. This is why I say with a straight face, this is the most valuable video that you've ever watched. You see, tell me a number between 1 and 14. So tell me a number between 1 and 14. Perfect. Chapter 6 is your chapter on sales. You're going to sell two things. I would write using a pen furiously. 1, you're going to sell chapters 1 through 14 using AI. Why? Because chapter 6 is actually hashtag CH6. It's only on X Twitter. It's not a hashtag that is ubiquitous over the internet. Why? Because the internet is piles and piles of NPC shit. It's poop everywhere. That's why it's hashtag CH6. This is why this video is the most valuable video with 9 bullet points, not scripted. This is just for you. You see, it's only on X, and now you have the key. What key did I give you? The key I gave you is the explanation for Larry. Where's your book? It's hiding in plain sight. This is your Jedi in business administration. You don't have to go to Harvard to be cognizant of this true truth, which is two stuffed animals is two girls, one book. This is two stuffed animals and one you. So, two stuffed animals, one Larry Chang is greater than 6 MBAs in a team of MBAs. Let me repeat this because we started by doing two girls, one cup of knowledge. Where does that start? The whole problem is starting. The whole problem is how do you go from $0 to $300 without having to come up with $9,000? Let me repeat the math on that because this is how everyone does it. Everybody does it where they risk $7,000 to try to make 50 bucks. Don't believe me? Harvard Business School costs $300,000. You could have just gotten a library card to learn this stuff. This is the library card. Problem with the library card is it costs $0, and all you're going to do is just accrue knowledge, warehouse knowledge, and take knowledge and grow your knowledge so that way you feel really knowledgeable. No, you can't. I'm walking you through it. So, no, you can't. Because number 2, bullet point. You're realizing before two girls, one cup of knowledge. I know that sounds like a joke. And it looks like I'm fucking with you. But this is my ability to stay sane because I've said this more than once. So, yes, you can laugh. I'm sorry if your father bolted and you didn't have an alpha male in your life. I'm not going to be your first mentor. And that is this bullet point number 2. Your first step in Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge is you with 2 books looking like you're holding 2 books. It's worse than exposing yourself to pee into a urinal. Why? Because you're going to feel like you're naked because people are going to attack you. You see, when people attack you, now they're off balance. Look at how many times people have attacked me with mean words, and I literally own them. I own them because not because I'm a genius, but because I cause you to be off balance with your attack. This is Elon Musk, Tom Brady, Larry Chang baiting the shorts. Look at me. I'm a 6'5" Chinese cowboy begging for you to say, yo, bro, where's your horse? Yo, you better be rocking a ginormous penis because I've never seen an Asian guy with big dick energy. And when she says that, she's already talked about my penis. I don't even have to do any work because she's off balance. How does this apply? Initially, there are going to be moments that are going to feel uncomfortable. It's not even dangerous uncomfortable, like taking public transit amongst certain ethnic groups. I'm talking about going into high value, high socioeconomic conditions, such as Newport Beach Coffee Bean, such as Four Seasons Miami, the lobby, where you bring 2 books, one you. Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge. The cup of knowledge that we're all drinking from is from a book. Being able to get off of $0 is where bullet point number 3, where we realize that a book took somebody 10 years to write. And before you say, I can't read a book, this is where I say, cool, I know you can't read a book. So you're perfectly on cue for point number 4, which is most people don't know the difference macro to micro. And when they ask macro questions that are general, they get lost. And it's not lost in the sauce. It's just when you ask that question, you're going to get an answer and it's not going to be good. But hey, you dropped it. Let's go. Oh, my next question is, how did Donald Trump make $1 million to $1 billion? This is answered on a hashtag 26 days of OpenAI ducking BK. Day number 5. You're welcome. You're welcome. I knew you wouldn't like the answer to that because if you would have asked it to AI, they would have told you day number 5. Correct. Good job. Because what he did as the bankruptcy expert with Mnuchin as his now Treasury Secretary alum, but at the time, Goldman Sachs bankruptcy attorney, he did a series of complex collateral and strategic default to mine fiat by faking bankruptcy over and over again, renegotiating and doing some New York real estate developer deals. Day 5, hashtag 26 days of OpenAI ducking BK. But that's not going to help you, which is why we're DJing back to bullet point number 5 repeated. Do you know the difference between macro and micro? Here's the problem. When the money is fucked up, people are by default needing to be a portfolio manager, meaning you can't just rely on the fact that the US dollar, $1 equals $1. Because Bitcoin people, they love to say shit like 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. Now go make money with that. When your average citizen with an IQ below 170, which is 80% of the people, are trying to do macro work. And this video is called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School. This segment is called hashtags. When you can't put 24 sentences together in a row, for example, Julian, you're not going to be able to leave $0 because we're still talking about 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. Bullet point number 5, which is too much macro, not enough micro. You see, the reason today is November 26, which is not coincidentally, it's engineered to be day 26, hashtag day 20, hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK. Because on day 12, we switched teams and went from OpenAI to Grok 4. With today being day 26 of hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK, put that in the chat, connect it to Twitter. Why? Because macro micro is the largest bankrupt force that's going to bankrupt 50% plus of Americans. You guys get to avoid bankruptcy because I gave you 26 days of purely genius shiitake. Let's continue with bullet point number 6. Even in pure communism, there is going to be the capitalist system of, oh, you're starving? Cool. I have a secret bread baking oven that is deep in the woods. I'm going to give you a slice of bread for 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. You see, it's always going to be a small dose of capitalism. It doesn't matter if it's pure communism. Why? Because that's just how history works. And I'm not laughing at people's misery. I'm walking you through how to avoid bankruptcy. Where the bankruptcy is coming for everyone in a preloaded fourth turning Neil Howe kind of way, you could have whatever letters in the alphabet, none of them are going to protect you. But bullet point number 6 is this. There's a certain amount of vulnerability that you're going to feel when you're sheepishly doing 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge with just 1 book. It's easier if you do it with 2 books. It's easier if you do it with 2 books. It's easier if you do it with 2 books. Why? Because you're one dude, 2 book. When you're one dude, 1 book, it's harder because people see you as normal. When you do one dude, 2 book, it makes it 1,000 times easier. It makes it 1,000 times easier. But you're struggling. Bullet point number 7. 7, 8, and 9 are going to be so common sense that the common mistake would be to say, cool. I know the theory of doing it. Let's move on. And it's not the theory and the knowledge that's important. It's locking in the fact that, oh my God, I pulled $800 because this is what happened. Is I walked into a bookstore or a hotel with 2 books. And then because I had 2 books that I could then memorize chapters 1 through 14, or memorize chapters 1 through 19, or memorize chapters 1 through 13. This works every time, 100% of the time. Let me repeat that math. So when I even have 1 book, well, unfair because it's my game. It's called book roulette. See, you might think that Larry Chang's IQ is 488 because that's what everybody in Silicon Valley thinks is, oh my God, I've never met a smarter person. But you see, I'm doing this bullet point number 7 and 1, which is I'm doing this with an IQ of 88. This is some genius shit. It's going to pass right over you, especially if you're in the IQ danger zone of, I totally understand what he's saying. He's just using books to bait women into throwing pussy. Okay. So let's replicate it for you because you might think, oh, I am not tall, gorgeous, and hot. Okay. You might be thinking that because I see you females trying to call me homosexual so that way your vagina has a chance to get lubricated because that's how your brain's wired. Let's send fewer boob selfies and fewer full length mirror bathroom selfies. Let's focus on Joe Dispenza. Remember, this works 100% of the time, every time. Do you see why I use stuffed animals? Because when I bring 3 stuffed animals that are exactly the same, people are going to attack me. And it's always the rich people who attack me. Poor people are like, oh, not saying anything. It's always rich dudes. But guess what? When a rich dude tells you that you're a retard or that you're whatever, that's a good thing. Bullet point number 7, longest bullet point ever. What you're doing is an external API. Hashtag external API. That is step 1 for everything. external API. What do two girls have to do with knowledge when you're the one who read the book? LOL. What? Oh my God. That is actually such a dumb question that it's a genius question, which is why we always ask micro. Once you go macro, you're fucked, okay? Because it's like sports betting. You're betting against 60 Larry Changs who are in a room trying to steal your money. That's what sports betting is. Never sports bet. Okay. What do two girls have to do with knowledge when you're the one who read the book? Because you read the book, but you don't have their money. Do you get it now? Do you get it? Let me repeat that. You're the one with the book, they're the one with the money and the vagina. But that's the whole key here. That's the whole point is I have the knowledge which I'm not going to charge you for. In fact, I should start selling, no jokes, but I should start selling you, give me $800 because you're the one who understands what Larry Chang's talking about. Like, good job. Well, you're going to lose it if you water it down because right now you barely understand what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. You can't argue with this. It's just true. You're the one with the book. You're the one with this book. You're the one with this book. You're the one with this book. They're the one with the money. That's where the money transfers. Do you see that or do you not see that? Yeah, it's not as productive, but what's the hot girl? Hey, Julian, do you want to jump on a Q&A or are you not presentable? Are you are you a little troll that's a fake person that can't appear on video? Because if that's true, that's okay. But what hot girl will think you're serious? Your is YOURE. You are serious about reading a book. Okay, I get the money from women, but how do you have knowledge from books? Did you just really ask me that question? What? Did you just really ask me how do I have the knowledge from the book? Because you read the book and you've never read a book thinking I'm going to make $800. It's not the mods turning, it's me timing out my moderator because because it's not it's not all of us going in every direction the same way every time. It's when a person says something wrong, they get corrected. You could be a mod, you could be the president of the United States. Exactly. It's a mod getting moderated because they've peed away their own opportunity. Point number 7. What you're doing is for the first time, which is you're transferring money from them to you because you have knowledge from a book. And do you see why now, because we focus on micro, which is what can we do to make ourselves better, we get embarrassed by asking ridiculously dumb questions, but those dumb questions parlay directly into money. Do you guys see that? It doesn't matter if you don't, because this video just got incredibly valuable, because I just found out that you've never read a book to make money. This is college. If you would have studied something useful, this is college. If you would have graduated with the highest starting salary coming out of the University of Illinois, this is my channel, What They Don't Teach You in School, which is how do you make money reading 1.0 book in 2025? Because from your questions and from the archives, some people didn't read 1.0 book in 2024. I'm judging you. So what you're doing is this bullet point number 8. You're culminating Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge into, I have the knowledge. Would you like to come to a hotel room and play book roulette? What is book roulette, Larry? Sounds amazing. Removing you as a mod because what are you talking about? The business is gambling? What? Oh my God. So the number one thing that you're doing as a mod is you're moderating your own brain to, one, deliver 24 sentences. Fifth request, which is what happened to the original video, Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge. You did a derivation of it, doing One Girl, One Book, where you used one book on a date with one girl, which has a certain innovation to it because you made her read a book. And then you said, oh my God, Larry, I used a book on a date. The date never went better. Where are those 24 sentences? 8 sentences for Two Girls, One Cup. I watched a video. 8 sentences for I took action on this. 8 sentences for what did I learn from going from watching a video to actually doing something that was real. That's moderating your own brain to get better via What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School about book club. Chapter 9, Entrepreneurship, Making Your First $300. Initially, it's going to feel difficult when you're in a coffee shop or in a nice venue. Text message or email me, Larry, I'm thinking about playing Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge. This is the venue I'm thinking about at this Starbucks or Coffee Bean or Pete's Coffee or somewhere in a nice neighborhood. I'm doing 2 books, 1 you. Initially, it's going to feel painful. Why? Because you're sitting alone in a coffee shop like a psychopath with 2 books that are both books of the same book. People are going to then say, especially if women are attracted to you, they're going to be like the women that are attracted to me here and say, oh my God, you're a homosexual cowboy. You see, what people do that are betas or second tier people, they do beta socioeconomic things, which is they don't give a compliment. They'll try to drag you down by saying you something negative. Therefore, they feel like when they lower your price, you now are going to be willing to date them because they're not a Victoria's Secret model and they're obese. Obese girls are some of the meanest girls that will try to cold open me, where they know they're fat. They know that in the real world, it doesn't work like a dating app, where in the real world, failing has consequences. That's your benefit. You see, when people cold open you, you're going to be prepared with what people are going to say. Here is how to make the money because you asked the question. Pinning your negativity. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Rayanne asks, Larry, do you gamble? I'm gambling right now with my time because it's a ginormous gamble. Actually, I'm not gambling. I've engineered the risk to not be risky. How? Because this video is going to be recorded. Okay, so I get it. You got the money from women, but you have the knowledge from books. Okay, I get it. So you got the money from women, but you have the knowledge from books. Oh, here it is. What do two girls have to do with knowledge when you're the one who read the book? You're going from book knowledge. You're going from book knowledge to street smart knowledge. Let's go. This video just became triple amazing. This is why. When people ask you for, hey, this is a question that I have about why are you sitting here in this coffee shop with two books? You're going to be able to answer with content inside the book. This is playing 5D chess for the first time. Altogether, while answering your questions so succinctly, let's go. By getting yourself off of $0, you're using a methodology which is step one every time, step one, which is hashtag external API. If you're taking notes, yeah, that's bullet point number 9. But if you're lost, bullet point number 9 is also step number 1 every time, hashtag external API. You see, you're selling a book that you did not write. You're selling a thing that you did not have an emotional attachment to. You merely read the book. You merely financially benefited from a book that you read. Step 1, external API. Within another API, which is you're sitting in a coffee shop that you did not start. You are going to meet people that see you with two books. So you're, in essence, running two API calls. One is you're at the coffee shop. Two is you're in possession of a book. What then happens is this. People are going to cold open you by saying one of three most popular questions, which is one, is that book your book? Two, people are going to ask, hey, is this book a book that you've read? Because I can't read. Three, they're going to ask, oh, are you waiting for other people to join you for your book club? All of those go right into pulling money. Why? Because similar to the game of two girls, one cup of knowledge, you're extrapolating the questions that people have. And when you guess the questions that people have, you can go right to their problem. They don't read enough. Their brain is constantly default scrolling. Two, their brain is broken. This is the methodology to fix their brain. Three, they might be making really good money, or else they would not have the audacity to talk to strangers. Strangers talking to strangers and financially benefiting, that is chapter 4, hashtag CH4, which is networking. You see, poor people at a bus stop, poor people in general, cannot connect to other people because there's risk and they've never financially benefited from meeting another poor person, which is why they're in the losers bracket. What this is going in doing K-shaped networking. K-shaped networking is where you're on the losers bracket and you're networking into the winners bracket. Is there a membership fee required? Sort of. Is there a club that you need to join? Sort of. Is this a social engineering hack? Definitively, yes. Read about people's experiences on Quora. Why? Because what you're doing is you're making other people angry that are your friends. Why? Because this information is available in a book. This information is $0. This video is $0 while simultaneously being the most valuable video that you've ever watched. Why? Because you can network with people that have 1% economic stratosphere problems. Why? Well, it turns out rich people are also having a hard time reading. Rich people are also having a hard time with macro, MACRO. Rich people are having a hard time improving, and rich people who are really just upper middle class people are not connecting as well to other people. By doing two girls, one cup of knowledge, you're doing the thing that is the most valuable thing, which is what? Which is being able to do book club at a coffee shop, book club at a hotel room, book club with two girls, one cup of knowledge, book club where you read a book and then when people ask you questions, you answer the questions with the content that's inside the book. This is the most valuable concept I've ever uttered. I will restate this valuable word. I coined it, similar to how I coined Web 5, Web 4, Web 3. But let's say you say, well, I don't know if I can financially benefit from those concepts that you engineered. This is chapter 13 of a book that I did not write, which is Memory. Mushi. because you did not write the book, but when you memorize chapter 13, chapter 4, chapter 14, you're going from their innocuous questions right into loading and exploding a explosion in their brain. Load and explode is how you jump higher. This is how to jump off of $0. This is how to leave $0. You load and explode. What are you loading and exploding? 6 numbers. 6 numbers within a book called Limitless. Limitless. 6 numbers. 62, 64, 67, 4, 14, 13. Mushi, mushi, mushi. I just gave you 6 numbers that you memorize right that goes right into $800 because people are going to be amazed that you can quote book, chapter, and book. So what we're doing is we're predicting the the things that the hot girl says when we say, "Hey, thank you for throwing vagina at me at 8:04 p.m. or 8:12 p.m. or 8:25. I really am going to enjoy your vagina after this party." But this party, it just started at 8 o'clock and it goes to 11, 12, or 1, but it definitely goes at least till 11. Can we fuck at 11:16 p.m.? Can we? Because we just got here and it's not inappropriate to leave, but I kind of want to network, meet some whales, and make some money. And then we can go do what you want to do. Oh, you must be gay. Cool. Now you understand the Quora post written by Sarah Park, Lisa Kim. We don't have to gossip about AMA. We don't have to gossip about my IQ. We don't have to gossip about knowledge. We're discussing the opposite of gossip, which is 6 numbers. Because you didn't write down the 6 numbers, it's because your brain is wired on self destruct. I want to go bankrupt, which is right now everyone's default, which is black pill. You're so red pilled on things that you're now black pill. You don't believe in blue pill Pollyanna, which I actually believe. That's why I replugged myself into blue pill, which is why you're constantly saying LGBTQTT. What are his pronouns? What are her pronouns? You're jaded. You're feeling like life's hopeless. You're not very hopeful. I'm saying FAFO. Fuck around, find Oriental. which is, oh, Mushi, 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 can you memorize these 6 numbers? If it doesn't work 100% of the time, every time, tell people, hey, I tried memorizing these 6 numbers, doing 2 books, 1 me, and it didn't work, because you won't be able to say it, because it will work because you wrote it out. And if you did write it out and it didn't work, that didn't happen, which is why then everybody will see where you're lying, because that's what happens when you write things out. And the rich people who read it, they're like, oh my God, I had that same problem. I had that same exact problem, but this is how I solved it. See, if you don't write it out, you've got no shot, because you're not then doing Web 12. It's see it, do it, teach it. See it, do it, summarize it. See it, do it, recap it. That's the genius of us doing these 6 numbers within Web 12. What's Web 12? It's a two-way street for Web 2, where I'm catalyzing you to take action. This is going to be amazing, which is, these are the 6 numbers to jot down: 62, 64, 67, 4, 14, 13. 2 paper books that are hardcover, sitting right there. People will say, oh, Becoming Supernatural? That's a great book. I go to the $9,000 workshops. Have you been? Or what people will also cold open you to say is, oh, Joe Dispenza, it's always been my dream to go to a $9,000 workshop by Joe Dispenza. There is no way to mess that up. There is just no way to mess that up, because you're in possession of the Joe Dispenza book. You took the effort to get 2 of them. This works 100% of the time, every time. Why? Because we're memorizing things as if we could have rewritten the book had the book never have been written. This video is called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School. You see, when people ask questions, they're either good questions, which deserve a compliment, or they're negative questions, which deserves accountability. Either way, both channels, both options lead to your financial benefit. Why? Because they're not able to read. And if they do read, that's even more benefit for you, because now you get to say, I'm doing book club. Now you get to say, I'm doing hashtag CH9, because there is no defense for this. There's not a person who's going to try to mitigate your effort. There's not a person who's defending against what you're doing. There are only solutions. This is Web 12. So Web 12, what it is a two-way street for Web 2. Web 12. It was a joke franchise that came up on July 11, 2025. What's a component of Web 12 that you can benefit from? And that is this: all the days of November up till now have been correlated to hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK. BK stands for bankruptcy. BK is where you and I avoid bankruptcy, day number 26. Let's use the fun game of two girls, one cup of knowledge, and turn it into reading one book before the end of 2025 by doing the imposter complexity of being an imposter by memorizing 6 numbers: 62, 64, 67, 4, 14, 13. When we're dovetailing these 6 numbers together, what we're solving is chapter 13. People are amazed that you can quote page numbers inside of a book. You're not memorizing all the pages of a book, which make it seem like I have an IQ of 500. It's guessing at what questions people are going to ask. Initially, it's going to feel uncomfortable because you're going to be sitting in a coffee shop with 2 books, waiting, seemingly waiting, where you're not going to be on your iPhone, you're not going to be on your laptop, you're just going to be sitting there with 2 books. This is Pop Up Book Club at the Super Bowl. Let's do this cool exercise, which is segment 3, what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School about going to the Super Bowl for $0 using a Joe Dispenza book. Let's recap the segment, which will be segment number 3, what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School about self-funding a trip to the Super Bowl using 2 books, which is us doing this. On February 4, 5, 6, or 7, you pick one of the days. And by picking one of the days, you now are go, no go based on whether or not you can self-fund your trip to San Francisco from whatever city that you're in. This is how we're going to do it. We're connecting December 5 to one of the days in February that you picked, because this is layer 1 of venture capital, where if you put together 3 good days, you now have mapped a monetary map of how you're going to achieve a financial goal. The other mapped day is November 26th. That's today. If you're watching this after November 26th, then that would be today is your November 26th, connecting 3 days. What 3 days are we connecting? And you're jumping in at the perfect time. That would be February 6th. That would be December 5. That would be November 6. November 26. See, by connecting 3 days, you're now calendaring a preparation for 3 legendary days. Maybe at the end of the day, you don't ask yourself, hey, was today the best day I could have made? But we're engineering the fact that we're connecting 3 days to load and explode. Why? Because you've never read a book thinking, hey, will this book help me get into 2 years of an MBA school for $0? Let me repeat that question, because it's a genius question that's innocuously simple, which is, what if you were to read one book? What if you were to read one book that got you $275,000 of free education? Because by asking such an empowering question, Now you say, oh my God, I understand why this video is called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School, because that is Search Fund, a class at Harvard Business School. Can you buy that textbook used on Amazon? Yes. What we're doing is we're asking ourselves an incredibly empowering question, which is, what if we were to read one book that costs less than $0 if we read it at the library, or if we invest $12 for one book? What if we read that $12 book, one of three books, and then said, can we make $800 from reading that one book? And there you go. That's most people's reaction, which is, that's most people's reaction. If we want to have results that are non-typical, we do things that are psychopathic, which is, imagine your enthusiasm in reading one book where you say to yourself, I can't believe I've never made $800 reading one book. This works 100% of the time, every time. Why? Because Limitless. The book sells itself. The cover. Oh, is that book made into a movie called Limitless with Bradley Cooper, where you pop a pill and then you become amazing? Nootropics, amazing. Brain food, amazing. With the book sells itself. Because the book sells itself, chapter 19, Brain Food, you get to sell something that sells itself as you financially benefit from memorizing 6 numbers that are correlated to that book. I'm not saying don't read the book. I'm saying don't feel bad about the fact that you can't read. Don't feel bad about it. Just forgive yourself and try to read 10 minutes. But you can memorize 6 numbers, which are 13, 14, 4, 62, 64, and 67. You see, these 6 numbers is like a combination locker to drop panties or make 800 bucks or communicate to people what in the world is Larry Chang talking about with this Web 12. What about Web 11? Yeah, you're retarded. There is no Web 11. Do you see how that's chapter 4, which is stop asking dumb questions and predicting other people's dumb question, which is what's Web 10? Instead of asking me smart ass questions about what Web 9 is, because there is no Web 9, Web 5 jumped to Web 12. This is Web 12, which is stop asking dumb questions, 62, 64, 67. Turbo hike. Because when you say Web 12, people are going to be like, did you just make that shit up? And then this is where you drop genius, which is Web 12. I watched a Larry Chang video on July 11. Do you not know how Web 12 works? Because Web 12 is incredibly valuable on today, day 26 of the hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK. Because you might say AI is full of shit. You might say that NVIDIA and Palantir are committing accounting fraud with accelerated depreciation. Or you can just point towards day 5, where Michael Burry said, hey, Palantir and NVIDIA are to be shorted. Day number 5, November 5. Because when you connect up days, you're connecting up 3 days. Pick what you want from these days, which is today, whenever you're watching this. So today, text me the day. Then your second day, day number 2, is December 5. Day number 3 is February 7. You see, today, whatever day you're watching, plus December 5, plus February 7, those 3 days self fund a free vacation because you've never read a book and then said to yourself, will this book fund a free vacation? Set that aside for a moment and ask yourself, have you ever financially benefited from AI? AI, it's the most powerful tool invented in software, hands down. That's why it's overhyped on a macro level. But once you confuse macro with your micro, you're going to go bankrupt because you're confusing macro with micro. It's not just the School of Economics I learned macro. The School of Economics, I learned micro. When you have your brain default set to macro, that's the psychological operation of people going to psychologically operate against you. By doing micro, there's nothing more micro than asking yourself the selfish question of, oh my God, I can't believe that my name's Ron and I have a broken brain and can't listen. But what I can do is realize, hey, this video, I can get a free vacation to San Francisco before the Super Bowl with using AI to get one free vacation, using AI to make $300 before Thanksgiving weekend ends. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. We're talking about how do we network with rich people versus just being angry that they're rich. Because last time I checked, making money is about solving problems. Where if we solve the problem of a poor person, they're not thankful, they're not going to financially benefit us. Look at how many people inside of an hour and a half has said thank you for the most valuable video that people have ever come across, right? Whereas if we solve rich people's problems, we make more money. Why? Because there's more money in solving those problems. And sure, I'm talking like a simpleton where you're like, yeah, I know this. But here's the question. Have you been able to financially benefit from going to the library? Costs $0. Have you been able to financially benefit from any YouTube video that you've ever watched? Or are you in a doom loop, not a doom scroll, also a doom scroll, but in a doom loop of watching a YouTube video? Oh, this video is about how to make Italian food. So you watch the video on making Italian food and you're like, oh, I could do that. Oh, I could just go buy that. Oh, but instead, now I'm really hungry for Italian food. Now I'm going to DoorDash some Italian food that was made an hour ago in a kitchen 20 minutes away. So you watched a YouTube video, and what did it do? It caused you to realize that your time preference was with very little delayed gratification. This is loading and exploding. This is fixing time preference, Web 5. This is fixing your Web 12, never been in a two-way conversation before. Fixing the I've never been in a two-way money conversation before. Because by putting 3 good days together, we self-fund a trip to San Francisco, not on a private jet, not on a yacht going from Catalina Island to San Francisco Bay Area, but on a bus, on a Greyhound, Flixbus, Red Coach, some kind of bus that barely gets us to San Francisco. Why? Because we're doing book club at a nightclub. We're doing book club at a coffee shop. We're doing book club with 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge, with 6 numbers that we memorize. Memorize right is mushi, mushi, mushi. Is that a word that I coined? Oh, yeah. Why am I coining words? Is this 6 or 7 ways to get better? It's making $600 or $700 via this video before this video is watched a second time by you on day number 26 within the Twitter hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK. Have you ever used Grok 4 to get a free vacation? Have you ever used any AI to make $80? Because if you're stuck in a line of thinking, which is, oh, AI, it's just a bunch of crap, or AI, it's only for rich people committing financial engineering fraud. That's hilarious because that's day number 5 of hashtag 26 days of OpenAI ducking BK, where we are at a point where we're taking jokes. We're taking the joke of hashtag CHA69 chapter 69, because this book, it stopped short. It stopped short. It stopped just short. It stopped short at chapter 64. That's what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School, is we're taking day number 26, hashtag 26 days of OpenAI ducking BK, and going to Omaha, Nebraska on a self-funded trip May 1 through May 3rd. Also, as a heads up, on December 8th in Dubai, there's a conference called Bitcoin for Corporations. That would be December 8th, Monday. Oh, maybe you can self-fund that trip with another book called The Fiat Standard. Connected to the gold standard. Connected to the Bitcoin standard. To the Bitcoin standard. This video has been what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. Drop questions for any of the entree points that you found to be most fascinating. Why are hot girls always dropping in calling me gay? Why is that? Oh, I know why. Oh, I know why. stuffed animal club at a conference. Similar to Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge, we now have 3 stuffed animals at a meal at a restaurant. You see, when we have 1 stuffed animal, it's just one random stuffed animal. But if we've got 3 of them, that must mean that something's up. And something definitively is up. Why? Because this little fellow, he's got a business purpose. The business purpose that he serves is to activate a hashtag. Why a hashtag? Because it's putting Easter eggs into a alignment that causes economic loading and exploding. Because I could just wow you with my IQ, or I can make you curious about what in the world are you doing with that starfish. His name is Larry, and it's Larry the starfish. And he's got 5 arms. And these 5 arms are potent because it's $MSTR, $STRC, $STRD, $STRK, $STRF. You see, most people get all of those things confused, and it befuddles people because most people didn't walk through, hey, I'm going to have to do a collateral audit. Hey, I'm going to have to calculate likelihood of default. Hey, is this the company that JP Morgan is trying to short into bankruptcy? Hey, is this the company that's going to attempt to eat the $13 trillion bond market? Yes, yes, yes. Because we didn't, well, we did, but you didn't engineer Bitcoin for corporations. You didn't engineer board of director governance, but you can benefit from it from a book. That would be called The Mobile Wave. Who wrote The Mobile Wave? Why are chapters 1 through 10 mapped out here? Why are chapters 1 through 10 mapped out? Within Bitcoin for corporations. You see, chapters 1 through 10, they occurred via this book called The Mobile Wave. The Mobile Wave was written by a person who was jealous of the wave of mobile. And that jealousy turned into a book that was never written called The Bitcoin Wave. What is the Bitcoin Wave? The Bitcoin Wave is chapter by chapter the Mobile Wave, because Saifedean Ammous wrote this book called The Fiat Standard, and he stopped short. He stopped short because he didn't do chapter 19. Chapter 19 of Saifedean Ammous' book, The Fiat Standard, because what solves paper money is chapter 17 and chapter 18, the Bitcoin Wave. The reason he stopped it at chapter 18 was he didn't write yet the Bitcoin Wave. which is chapter 19 through chapter 33. You might be getting confused about these different chapters. I went ahead and mushied things for you that I will now remushi, because chapter 19, the Bitcoin wave, chapter 20, networked nodes, ledgers. Chapter 21 is the world as your library. Oh, does that sound familiar? It does. Chapter 22, sadistic entertainment. These chapters are spot on. Chapter 23, digital property. This intellectual property belongs to Larry Chang. You may use it if you fulfill the promise of making it work 100% of the time, every time, which is why it works, because you're using my digital property. That's chapter 23. Chapter 24, central bank selling Bitcoin. Genius. Chapter 25, Bitcoin is sexy. Chapter 26, karma and religion. Chapter 27, fix the money, fix the world. Right now, the reason I have the chutzpah and the confidence that I do is I fixed the money and I did fix the world. Now I just need to fix your brain. That's chapter 27, fix the money, fix the world, fix your brain. Chapter 28, new words, new worlds. When I say new words, I mean mushi. I mean, chapter 28 is new words and new world. Chapter 29, failing forward. No more zombies, no more price discovery death, price discovery. It lives again. The world is healing. It's been Web 5. We're living in the future. It's just not evenly distributed. This is what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School, is Web 4, 1971, is older than Web 1. I am the smartest person in Silicon Valley because I jokingly did Web 3, Web 4, Web 5 when I was told what Web 2 was. And when people get angry at that, don't get mad at me. Get mad at yourself for Web 2 Summit. Web 2 Summit. Can you make money with $0 coming to Web 2 Summit? Oh my God. Oh my God. New words, new worlds, failing forward, chapter 29. New words, new world, chapter 28. Chapter 30, street smart Bitcoin. That's Web 5. That's Web 12. Hashtag Web 12. Chapter 31, crazy but true. You're welcome. You should be making a lot of money with this. Chapter 32, the Bitcoin wave. Look at how genius this is. It's based on the mobile wave. It's based on the mobile wave, and those are what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School about the Bitcoin wave, chapters 19 through chapter 33. Do you want to screenshot this? I'll let you screenshot this. Oh, wait. Instead of screenshotting it, maybe you should Web 12 it. Instead of screenshotting this, maybe you should Web 12 it. Maybe. I'm catching up on comments. So I'm reading your comments. That was a water burp. Getting turned around. Doing a turnaround is where you're resuscitating a thing that used to be dying and then you turn it around. This is the Zoe turnaround. You see, with a turnaround, we're practicing on a cadaver. With a turnaround, we're doing something that is high reward, zero risk. This thing has already died. We're practicing on a cadaver. Here's the problem with entrepreneurship is people practice on a new business. People practice on something that's infantile. People practice on something that is a startup, which is defined as a loose collection of individuals in search of a business model. Those are all problems. Death is imminent. Those are all problems. Bankruptcy is going to be nearly immediate. This is day 26 of hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking bankruptcy. The reason this is a pivotal Wednesday is that the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is a terrific night to go out. Think of this as pregame, where we could go out just to go out, but instead we're going to go out and do a turnaround. In essence, we're spending a vacation day incredibly street smart. This is within the construct of what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School, chapters 1 through 14. This is chapter 8, Karma, where we're doing a turnaround, chapter 9, Entrepreneurship. We're networking, chapter 4. So together, it's high karma because we're doing something that's good for the community. Chapter 9, Entrepreneurship. Everybody's a little bit entrepreneurial. Chapter 4, which is networking. Are you interested in the Zoe turnaround? You are, because next door to Harvard is MIT, delta Z T equals 0, with the Alfred P. Sloan School of Management, where we have a furrowed brow because what Alfred Sloan was good at was stealing companies from Billy Durant. Who's Alfred Sloan? He's a bean counter. He took over Chevrolet, and after he took over Chevrolet, he took over General Motors. He took 2 companies from Billy Durant. This is the Zoe turnaround, where we're doing a turnaround of a Techstars startup. Why? Because distribution is difficult work. We're learning the calendar difference from March 9, 2025 to March 8, 2026. Why? Because today is hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK. 2026 March, day number 8, will be day number 8 of hashtag 22 days of OpenAI at SXSW. This is the magical trick to connect November 26, March 9, 2025 to March 8, 2026. Larry, these 3 dates are so random. Why are you so excited about it? You see, I'm excited about it because you've never gone on a free business trip, AKA a free vacation. This is you engineering your own vacation using Web 12 to self-fund South by Southwest, SXSW, day number 8, hashtag 22 days of OpenAI at SXSW. Congratulations, you've aced today. Day 26, hashtag 26 days of Grok 4 ducking BK. You don't need money to make money. We're powering it with hashtags. This is powered by hashtags. This is powered by hashtags. If you are a hashtag virgin while being a book virgin, while being a money virgin, this is how to become de-virginized financially. Did you guys get that? You need it slower? Here you go. Here you go. So what we're winning at is Web 12. What's Web 12? It's a two-way street of social media. By being a two-way street, we're in essence switching from Web 2 scroll of doom to a two-way street that loads and explodes $300 to $800 for you to spend money on a bus ticket to go to Miami for Art Basel, bus ticket for you to go to Austin, Texas for SXSW. This is us doing the Zoe turnaround, hashtag CS183E turnaround. Remember, this video is called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School, because we have to quickly explore what they do teach you at Harvard Business School, which is Search Fund. Search Fund is a class where you buy a company, sometimes out of distress or duress. You buy the company, you find out it's a pile of turd, it's going to be really tough to turn around, you're going bankrupt, having purchased that bankrupt entity because it was a bigger poop show than you imagined. It was a bigger shit show than you audited. Now you're in a world of hurt. Your search fund is now going to go underwater. That search fund, that's Stram GT353. That's a textbook called New Business Ventures and The Entrepreneur. This is edition number 6, New Business Ventures and The Entrepreneur. This is what they do teach you at Harvard Business School. Class is called Search Fund. Here's a problem. Here's a problem, which is they got rid of Irv Grousbeck as one of the authors. How do you even do that? Are you saying, Larry, that the 5th edition is better than the 6th edition? Because the 6th edition has a cover that's shiny and okay. But here's the problem. Here's the problem, is they got rid of chapter 17. They got rid of chapter 17 as they got rid of Irv Grousbeck as a co-author. Is this inside baseball? No. It's inside Harvard. It's inside of doing a turnaround, which is, what if Irv Grousbeck had a computer science background? What if he did? Then he would have done hashtag CS183E. You see, you don't need to fundraise a fund to do a search fund. Let me repeat this. So the way I got into Stanford Business School is I read Irv Grousbeck's book, The Fifth Edition. I read that book and then I said, hey, your lectures, they're amazing. But one of your lectures is imperfect. May I attend in person so that way I can learn from you directly? That's incredibly important because that's Web 12, which is I try to learn as much as I could on my own. I'm just stuck in this knowledge gap. That's Web 12, which is, have you been studying what I study so that way you can ask incredibly advanced questions such as Irv, Professor Grousbeck, first name basis. Sure, why not? Irv, your lecture 11, collateral default and rope to choke, they're not as good as your other lectures. And I know how it connects to chapter 17. I just think I'm missing something. Is it okay if I learn from you in person? Maybe the YouTube videos don't do it justice. You see, by doing a turnaround of Irv Grousbeck's class turnaround, that's like when YouTube content creators sell you a workshop on how to do a workshop, where it's hilarious because it's vapor. This is the opposite of vapor. This is hardcore. It's hilarious. It's also incredibly useful because you're doing a turnaround of MIT Sloan Fellows. You're also doing a turnaround of hashtag TCEET, which is TCEET, the Tom Chang Engineer to Entrepreneur Transformation. This is how to benefit. You see, Harvard and Stanford have a class on search fund, but what's required with a search fund is to fundraise $180 million. I came up with a methodology to skip that step. This is why people say I'm the smartest person in Silicon Valley. The step that I skipped was this step. You can turn it around using API calls. You can turn it around by doing an hashtag external API, circling back to the class that some people forgot about. That class is called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School, Mark McCormack. You see, Mark McCormack started a business that was in essence a turnaround, which is the Senior Golf Tour. He also started another business, which is New York Fashion Week. Those things are turnarounds, but he didn't need money to do those turnarounds. He just needed to take notes. This is Irv Grousbeck. If he would have had a computer science degree, he would say hashtag external API. Remember, this video is called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School. And the hashtag that I'm giving you is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's totally legal. It works every time, 85% of the time, which is hashtag external API. Let me give you an example of a turnaround as we do a Zoe turnaround. And that is turning around Hertz Rental Car Company. What is step one in doing a turnaround? What is step one? Since you're watching this on tape delay or you're paralyzed, I'll just give it to you. Step one is hashtag external API. You see, you think that this video is right now AI, but I'm just playing 5D chess. Why did you not write it down pen to paper? Hertz Rental Car Company. You see, when you ask a consumer, hey, have you ever seen a Tesla car commercial? People will be like, I think I have. Doesn't Tom Brady star in the Tesla car commercials? That's actually a Hertz rental car commercial. It's just Tom Brady is selling you a Tesla test drive. So Tom Brady running point on the Hertz rental car company turnaround by running an external API into Tesla. Why? Tom Brady doesn't work at Tesla. Tom Brady works at Hertz, doing the Hertz turnaround by running an external API into Tesla. Why is this beneficial to us? Because we're running an external API. Remember before when I talked about how Mark McCormack did the senior golf tour? Remember before how I talked about how Mark McCormack started New York Fashion Week? Those are external APIs where you're allowed to promote other golfers that are now retired. You're allowed to assemble the models that you represent and allow competing modeling agencies to debut new models and distribute clothes, which is what New York Fashion Week is. You see, what the hashtag 55 days of Grok 4 at SF Super Bowl is day number 69 is the Super Bowl. Because what the Super Bowl is a convention of pro athletes, football, baseball, basketball, pro athletes, even golf, meeting for a 1 week sports convention this year in San Francisco. Let's do a turnaround of a thriving entity, because we don't have to wait for something to go bankrupt. We can turn around something that's already pretty strong, which is billionaires competing in a Super Bowl where one billionaire owns a team against another billionaire that owns a team, and there's a bunch of other billionaires that are there to do networking. This is why Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge works. This is why a book club at a Super Bowl party works. This is why book club at a coffee shop the week of the Super Bowl works. Why? Because people sometimes pay $25,000 to $100,000 to go on a vacation to watch the Super Bowl. That's Harvard Stanford STRAM GT 353, which is how you can self-fund a trip to the Super Bowl on days number 61 through 69 of hashtag 55 days of Grok 4 at SF Super Bowl. I'm proud of myself and smiling because why? Because you can demarcate days as you willy-nilly conjure up a franchise that's hilarious called hashtag 55 days of Grok 4 at SF Super Bowl. Because here's the problem, maybe you don't realize it. It's called the 12 days of open AI. That's a problem. That's a problem. What we've just done is a turnaround